Most of the mistakes that stay with you didn't come from recklessness. They came from compliance. You trusted someone who sounded sure, a doctor who didn't hesitate, a leader who spoke without pauses, an expert backed by titles, credentials, applause. And the moment they spoke with certainty, something in you went quiet. Not logic, instinct. Authority feels safe because it relieves you of weight. When someone else knows, you get to rest. You don't have to sit with uncertainty. You don't have to own the outcome. That relief is the trap. Because the cost isn't paid immediately, it's paid later when the decision fails and you realize you were present but not involved. This isn't about distrusting everyone. It isn't about rebellion or arrogance. It's about noticing the exact moment your judgment slips away without resistance. This is about reclaiming that moment, quietly, calmly, without making a scene. Not rebellion, not control, just clear sight. You already know this feeling, the subtle easing in your chest when someone speaks with certainty, the way your questions dissolve the moment they sound composed. Authority bias is when belief arrives before thought, when something feels true simply because it was delivered without hesitation. You don't just listen to authority, you lean into it. You let it carry weight so you don't have to. There's a reason this feels natural. For most of human history, disobedience wasn't independence. It was danger, ignoring the leader, the elder, the healer that used to get people killed. So your nervous system still reads authority as safety, still relaxes when someone claims to know, still quiets your internal friction to preserve order. But notice the mismatch now. The modern world rewards confidence far more than accuracy. People speak decisively about outcomes they can't see, systems they don't control, futures they won't face. And yet your body reacts the same way it always has. Certainty still calms you, even when it shouldn't. That's the trap. Not stupidity, not weakness. An instinct that outlived its usefulness and now waits patiently for you to notice it. You've lived this more times than you admit. In relationships, someone with history speaks first, older, more established, certain. Their advice lands heavy, even when it doesn't fit the shape of your life. You feel the mismatch immediately, then you override it. You tell yourself they've earned the right to be right, so you adjust instead of questioning. And something quiet in you folds inward. At work, it's sharper. The leader speaks cleanly, confidently, without pauses. The plan moves forward fast. You notice the flaw before anyone else names it. Your chest tightens. Your mouth doesn't open. The room goes still, not because everyone agrees, but because everyone is waiting for permission to disagree that never comes. In health decisions, it's almost automatic. The explanation is efficient. The tone is calm. You feel rushed without being rushed. Your question forms and dies in the same second. You don't want to seem difficult. You don't want to seem ignorant, so you nod. And later, alone, the question comes back louder. The regret always arrives quietly, not as panic, as recognition. I noticed something. I hesitated. I let it go. Authority bias doesn't bully you. It doesn't demand obedience. It seduces you with relief. It whispers that your doubt is unnecessary, that someone else already carried the weight for you, that silence is safer, and you listen. Not because you're weak, but because you're perceptive enough to feel the tension and trained enough to ignore it. Your mind isn't failing when this happens. It's conserving energy. You don't hesitate because you're unsure. You hesitate because constant evaluation is heavy. So when someone speaks with authority, your mind accepts the handoff, not out of weakness, out of efficiency. Authority feels like a shortcut through complexity, a way to stop carrying every variable yourself, a way to rest. The illusion isn't that authority is malicious, it's that expertise sounds finished, closed, complete. But expertise is narrow by nature. It's depth in a corridor, not vision of the whole building, and certainty often arrives where knowledge quietly ends. The real mistake isn't trust, it's abdication. The moment you stop listening to your internal friction, you stop participating in the decision. You become present without agency, and later, when things unravel, the pain isn't confusion, it's recognition. You didn't miss the signal, you set it aside. That isn't ignorance, that's intelligence trained to stand down. Not rules, not techniques, just small shifts you already know how to make. When someone speaks with certainty, curiosity wakes up, not outwardly, internally. You ask one quiet question and let it echo. What would still be true if this were wrong? You don't challenge, you don't correct, you simply keep a private foothold in reality. Then you create a pause, a narrow gap between instruction and movement, not defiance, not delay, just space where your judgment can breathe again. That pause is invisible to others and powerful to you, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, you separate respect from obedience. You honor experience without kneeling to it. You listen without dissolving. You stay present without surrendering the steering wheel. These moments don't slow your life, they remove the sway. You stop being carried by confidence. You start standing inside your own awareness. Over time, something steadies inside you. Not bravado, not defiance. A quieter confidence that doesn't announce itself. You stop swinging between submission and rebellion. You don't need to push back. You don't need to give in. You simply remain intact. You notice how often people rush to be certain, how often confidence is used to move others faster than they can think. And you don't react. You let the moment pass through you without taking you with it. Gradually, you stop outsourcing your thinking. Not loudly, not as a statement, just as a habit that never formed again. You become difficult to manipulate, not because you're guarded, but because you see what's happening while it's happening. Understanding replaces suspicion. Awareness replaces reflex. Years from now, the victories won't be obvious. They won't be stories you tell. They'll be absences. The meetings where you didn't nod too quickly. The decisions where you waited. The moments where you didn't abandon your own signal. Those are the regrets you never carry. Authority isn't going anywhere. It never has, and it shouldn't. There will always be people who speak first, faster, with more certainty than the moment deserves. That isn't the problem. The problem only begins when you forget one quiet truth. No one else lives inside the outcome but you. They give guidance. You carry consequences every time. When you really listen, to advice, to experience, to the subtle signal that tightens or steadies inside you, something shifts, not dramatically, permanently. You stop bowing, you stop posturing, you stop needing to prove anything. You stand where you are, calm, unrushed, watching the moment before stepping into it. You don't fight authority, you don't worship it, you see it. And in that quiet stance, where nothing needs to be said too quickly, judgment stops leaking away. That's where it lives.
Thanks for spending time with us. If this sparked a new way of thinking, hit like and subscribe to keep the ideas flowing. And don't forget, check the description for the links to the resources and the original books we used today. We'll see you in the next one.